Most politicians will tell you, America's great, or at least we used to be great. But why? What is it that makes America great? Well, Eisenhower offered this explanation 70 years ago, and it's been working for politicians ever since.
America is good. And if America ever ceases to be good, America will cease to be great.
America is great because America is good, and when America ceases to be good, America will cease to be great.
America is great because America is good.
America is great because America is good. I'll say it over and over again.
As proof that Americans are good, these politicians praised our virtues. From selflessness to kindness, from personal responsibility to humility and compassion. We Americans have believed in our own exceptional virtue long before Eisenhower. By the time the first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord, we thought Americans were the most moral people in the world. And that, we were sure, made us uniquely suited for free government. Because, as Ben Franklin would later say, only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. So here's a question. If it took virtue then to create our republic, are we virtuous enough now to keep our republic? Many have doubts. Former Speaker Newt Gingrich sees American society as irreligious and immoral.
Yeah. We're in a period of decadence, and we're in a period where the decadent are dominant.
And Senator Bernie Sanders thinks we've been corrupted by greed.
And we got to tell corporate America and the billionaires in this country, they cannot have it all. Their greed is destroying this country.
What concerns Gingrich and Sanders today would also have concerned our leaders at the time of the Revolution. Then, we believed that a republic could only succeed if the people reliably put the common good over personal advantage. This was known as public virtue. And we were taught from the Bible as well as from Roman history, public virtue could only come from people who behaved morally in their private affairs. Any selfish attachment to personal pleasure or to luxurious wealth would distract people from the common good. Evidence of American public virtue was everywhere. We sacrificed together for the cause of liberty. After the Stamp Act, we stopped buying British goods. After the tax on tea, we stopped drinking our favorite beverage. The continent stood firm with besieged Massachusetts when the Intolerable Act sought to divide us. Ultimately, the people of America risked everything to fight and defeat the most powerful nation on earth. No longer subjects of the crown, we set out to rule ourselves. And we found, to our disappointment, that the Republican utopia we expected was anything but. In the states, legislatures passed unjust laws that led to cries of tyranny, and popular unrest led to fears of anarchy. As for our federal government, well, it was so weak, it was an embarrassment. The framers of our Constitution learned that Republican government could not always depend on the virtue of the people, even the exceptional American people. Hence, as we all learned in civics, they allocated power between the federal government and the states and kept separate the branches of government. This constitutional engineering did not take power away from the people. We remained sovereign. All it could do is slow down the lawmaking process, with the hope that, given enough time, reason would prevail. If asked, how do we keep a republic? The framers would encourage us to practice public virtue, even when it's hard, even when you feel you're not getting as much as the other guy. They would ask us to pause and reflect on the long-term best interest of the country, at least when the stakes are high, because if we can never do that, no form of government can render us secure. But the framers realized, sometimes we can't count on public virtue. They learned that lesson from the dysfunction and disorder after the Revolution. When we just don't agree on what's best for the nation, the framers would ask for something else from us. We'll cover that in the next episode of the Framers Toolkit.